What's going on YouTube? Today in this video we're gonna learn about JavaScript from scratch. So let's get started. Hi and welcome to this course on JavaScript full course for beginners. My name is Ashmat from OctAcademy and I'll be your instructor for this course. So guys, this is the first section of this course, Introduction to JavaScript. First of all, congratulations on deciding to learn JavaScript. It is a powerful and widely used programming language that is essential for anyone interested in building interactive and dynamic web applications. So in this course, we will be using the latest version of the JavaScript known as ES6 or the ECMAScript 6. This version includes a number of new features and improvements that make JavaScript even more powerful and easier to use. Before we dive into the details of JavaScript, let's start by talking about the web and how JavaScript fits into the overall ecosystem. So I prepared this course assuming you are an absolute beginner who knows nothing about JavaScript, right? So this course will go step by step. Any of you who want to learn a particular topic, I have added the timestamps and the outline for each and every section, so you guys can jump into the exact topic that you want to learn. Awesome. So let's begin. Alright, so first let's go through some web fundamentals. So what is this web? The web or the World Wide Web, WWW, is a vast network of interconnected documents and other resources that can be accessed through the internet. This is a system of interconnected documents and other resources linked by hyperlinks and URLs, which allows user to easily access information and interact with each other online. Web browsers such as Chrome, Firefox, and Safari are software programs that allows user to access and view the resources on the web. When you type in a web address or URL into a web browser, the browser sends a request to a web server to retrieve the resource at that address. The server then sends the resources back to the browser, which displays it for the user. So web browsers interpret and display the content of these documents using the combination of technologies including HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So HTML or hypertext markup language is the standard markup language for creating web pages. It defines the structure and content of a web page using a set of tags and attributes, right? So the CSS or the cascading style sheets is a style sheet language used for describing the look and formatting of a document written in HTML. It allows you to specify things like colors, fonts, and layouts for your web page. So the JavaScript, on the other hand, is a programming language that is commonly used to add interactive and dynamic behavior to the web pages. It allows you to do things like respond to the user input, update page content, and many more. So think that you want to do something when a user clicks on a button, you can do that using the JavaScript. Overall, using JavaScript allows you to create interactive and responsive web pages that can respond to the user input and events. So now that you have the basic understanding of the web and how HTML, CSS, and JavaScript fit into the picture, next let's move on to the real business. We'll start learning about basic JavaScript syntax and data types. So guys, before we move on, let's a little bit talk about the history of JavaScript. So in the mid-90s, there was a company called Netscape Communications who owned a successful web browser in the market. It was called Netscape Navigator. So this was one of the most popular web browser of its time. At that time, the web was mostly static with simple HTML pages that displayed text and images. At this time, most of the companies used website just to showcase their company details. However, Netscape wanted to make the web more interactive and dynamic, and they came up with a plan to add a scripting language to their Netscape Navigator browser. So for this, they hired Brandon Eich, who was a programmer at the time, to develop a scripting language for their browser. So Brandon's task was to create a language that would be easy to use for non-programmers and that would work seamlessly with their browser. So guys, within the 10 days of the period, Brandon Eich developed a language called Mocha, so which was later renamed to LiveScript, and finally it's renamed to JavaScript. So once again, JavaScript was created by Brandon Eich, a programmer at Netscape, in just 10 days in May 1995. So 28 years back, right? The language was initially called Mocha, but a few years later they renamed this to LiveScript, then they renamed this to JavaScript. So guys, at this time Java was the most popular programming language, and the Netscape company wanted to make the advantage of this Java popularity as their scripting language by renaming it to JavaScript. But there was a problem. Originally, the trademark of Java was owned by a company called Sun Microsystems, which meant that Netscape could not legally use the name JavaScript without permission from the Sun Microsystems. To resolve this issue, Netscape entered into a trademark license agreement with Sun, and as a result of this, Mocha, or the LiveScript scripting language, became JavaScript. So guys, but don't get confused, Java and JavaScript are totally two different programming languages, right? So there is not even a single connection between these two. The name JavaScript was given to this scripting language simply for the marketing purpose to capitalize the popularity of Java at the time. By the way, this name change and the simplicity of this scripting language, JavaScript became popular day by day among developers. The initial version of JavaScript was very basic with only a few data types and control structures. But it was quickly adopted by web developers because of its simplicity and ease of use. As web browsers became more sophisticated, JavaScript was also improved and expanded with new features added to the language to make it more powerful and flexible. Originally, few years, Netscape continued to develop JavaScript, adding new features and making it more robust. However, JavaScript wasn't standardized and was implemented different by various browsers. This caused compatibility issues, making it difficult for developers to write JavaScript code that would work across different browsers. To address this problem, Netscape submitted JavaScript to ECMA International, a standards organization for computing. ECMA International created a committee to standardize the JavaScript language, and in 1997 they released the first version of the ECMAScript standard, which was based on JavaScript. Over the years until now, several versions of ECMAScript have been released, each with new features and improvements to the language. So as I said earlier, originally JavaScript was developed as a client-side scripting language to interact with the website. But in 2009, revolutionary developer Ryan Dahl developed Node.js, which allowed developers to use JavaScript on the server side. And this took JavaScript popularity to the next level. Because of this revolutionary invention, developers could use the same programming language on both the client and server side. This made web development more efficient and streamlined, as it eliminated the need for developers to learn and use separate programming language for the client and server sides. Node.js was built on top of the V8 JavaScript engine from Google Chrome and was designed to be fast, lightweight, and efficient. It allowed developers to build scalable network application with ease. So guys, learning JavaScript in 2023 and beyond can still significantly boost your web development career. JavaScript is a powerful and versatile language that is constantly evolving and improving, making it an essential skill for a web developer. So JavaScript is used not only for client-side scripting but also for server-side scripting, mobile application development, game development, and even for the desktop application development. With the increasing demand for web applications and the growth of the technology industry, the demand for JavaScript developers is only going to increase in the coming years. Moreover, JavaScript has a large and active community with many resources, libraries, and frameworks available to make development easy and more efficient. Some of the most popular frameworks include React, Angular, and Vue.js, and also the Node.js runtime environment is widely used for server-side development. In short, learning JavaScript in 2023 and beyond will be highly beneficial for web developers as it is a powerful language with numerous applications and growing demand in the industry. Wow, I think this was the long history class that you guys had, right? So, alright, enough of this boring stuff and let's get into the real business. Let's write our first JavaScript code. There are two ways to include JavaScript code in an HTML document. So, the first method is we can include our JavaScript directly inside our HTML file. The second method is we can write our JavaScript code inside of a separate file and link that to our HTML page. So let's see this in action. First we need a project file to test our JavaScript code. So for this I will create a project folder inside my desktop. So you guys feel free to create your project folder wherever you want, right? I'll set the project folder name to something like JavaScript full course, and after that I'll be open this folder inside of the VS Code editor. So by the way, if any of you guys don't know about VS Code, it is just a code editor where we can write our codes in a more efficient way, right? So you guys can download this from its official website code.visualstudio.com. Just simply download the setup and install it on your computer. So this is supported cross-platform no matter what OS you use, Mac OS, Windows or Linux. So after you install, just simply open the project folder inside the VS Code. We can do that like this, right click and click this open with VS Code. That's it. So now let's create an HTML page. The page name is index and the file extension is .html. Now inside this, let's add the simple structure of an HTML document. For this we can use the VS Code emit shortcode. Simply type HTML:5 and hit enter. Perfect. Now let's write our JavaScript code using the first method. We'll write the JavaScript code inside this HTML page. So guys, this is the HTML page and inside of this we can write JavaScript code like this. So in order to write a JavaScript code, we have to define a JavaScript code scope inside this HTML document. So how do we do that? Can you guys remember, we can write inline CSS style inside of this HTML page, right? But we cannot write the CSS styles directly inside this HTML scope. So for this, we define a style scope using the styles HTML tag. So for this JavaScript also, we can use this same method. So to define the JavaScript scope, we have a special type of HTML tag called script. So using this, we can create a JavaScript scope inside of this HTML file. So we can define this JavaScript scope inside of the head, or we can define that inside the body scope. As a good practice, we will define this JavaScript scope bottom of the body tags. Alright, so now let's do this. Inside the body tag, let's define the script tags. Just simply open and close script tags. Now inside this, we can write JavaScript codes. So let's see an example for this. Let's write a code for something when the user clicks a button and show a welcome alert message. So for this we have a dedicated function in JavaScript called alert. So let's use that. So inside this, let's write the code alert and parentheses. So inside this we can pass the message that we want to show welcome to the website. That's it. So now we have to show this alert message when we click a button, right? So for this, let's define a button inside the HTML scope, create a button tag, and the button text will be show message. Now we have to trigger this alert method when clicking this button. So in order to execute this, we have to create a JavaScript function and put this alert function inside of that function. So let's do that. Let's create a function. So simply create a function using the function keyword. After this, we have to define the function name as something welcome message. After this, parentheses and the function scope. Okay, now put this alert function inside this function. Now we have to call this function from this button when we click this button. For this, we have an event binder in JavaScript. So we can use the onClick event binder for this. So inside this button tag, onClick and equal sign. After this, call the function. The function name is welcome message. And don't forget to add the parentheses. That's it. So guys, I know all of these codes might confuse you. Just simply write this code and we will learn about all of this in detail throughout this course. In this section, I'm just trying to show you how to write a simple JavaScript code and how it works inside the browser. Right? So that's it. Save this and open this inside the browser. In order to execute this, we have to run this inside the browser. So then only browser can understand this JavaScript, right? So how do we open this inside the browser? We can simply open this inside the browser by going to the folder path and just double clicking on it, or we can run this file using the live server VS Code plugin. So guys, what is this live server plugin? So the live server plugin for Visual Studio Code is a tool that allows you to launch a local development server with live reloading capability. It can be used to serve HTML, CSS and JavaScript files, as well as other static assets like images and fonts. To use the live server plugin, you first need to install it from the Visual Studio Code extension marketplace. Just simply go to this extension tab and search for the live server plugin and install it. Once it is installed, you can launch the server by right-clicking on the HTML file in the editor and select Open with Live Server from this context menu. This will open the HTML file in your default web browser, and any changes you make to the HTML or CSS or to the JavaScript file, it will be automatically reloaded in the browser when you save the files. So we don't need to reload the page every time we made a change, right? Alright, so let's run this. Right click and open with the live server. Now this will open inside my default browser, which is Google Chrome. I recommend you guys also to use Google Chrome as your default browser for this course, so we can avoid unnecessary errors and bugs. Alright, so inside the browser we can see this button. Just click on it. As you can see here, we got this alert message with our welcome message. Cool, right? So guys, this is how we write JavaScript code inside of an HTML page. Once again guys, I know some of you guys may not get these functions and these events, but don't worry about that. I just wanted you guys to show how to write JavaScript code inside of an HTML page. In the next lectures, you guys will get familiar with these code examples. Alright, now you guys know how to write JavaScript code inside the HTML page. We can write this using the script tags, right? So now let's see the second method, writing the JavaScript inside of a separate JavaScript file. So let's take the same example. Let's do this. So for this, let's create a new JavaScript file. The file name is something main and the file extension is JS. main.js. This file name can be any name, but you have to define this extension .js for JavaScript files. Same like the .html for HTML files and .css for CSS files. So now let's put this code inside the JavaScript. I'll copy this JavaScript code and paste it inside our newly created JavaScript page. So guys, inside this JavaScript page, we don't have to define the script tags. Why is that? Because this file is already a JavaScript file. So inside this, we can write JavaScript codes without any restrictions. Awesome. So now let's remove this JavaScript code from the HTML page. Save this all and go to the browser. Click on this button. This time we are not getting the welcome message alert. So something is wrong with our JavaScript code. That's why we are not getting this welcome alert message. So guys, we can find JavaScript errors from the browser console. So what is this browser console? The browser console is a tool that allows us to view messages, warnings, and errors that are generated by JavaScript. It is a useful tool for debugging and troubleshooting web projects, as it can help us to identify and fix problems in our code. So now we have a problem. In order to identify the problem, we have to access the browser console. So how do we access that? Just simply right click on the browser view and select Inspect. So this will open the developer options in the web browser. Inside this, go to the console tab. That's it. So very simple, right? So now inside this, we can see these red messages. So this is the problem or the error in our website. The error message is saying that welcome message is not defined. But as you guys know, we already defined this function inside our JavaScript file. But this is saying that this is not defined. And can you guys guess what is the problem? Yes, of course. The problem is this time, as you guys remember, we created a new separate file for our JavaScript codes, but we didn't link that file to this HTML file. So when this HTML file loads inside the browser cannot find this welcome message function because now it is in a separate JavaScript file. So the browser doesn't know about that file. So guys, in order to fix this, we have to link that JavaScript file to this HTML page. Nothing fancy. This is also same like CSS. If you guys remember, when we write CSS styles inside of a separate file, in order to apply that style to the website, we have to link that CSS file to this HTML file. So this JavaScript linking also same like that. So alright, so how do we link the JavaScript file inside this HTML file? So for the CSS linking, we use the link tag. But in order to link a JavaScript file, we have to use the same script tag. So let's see this in action. Inside the bottom of the body tag, create a script tag. Now inside this, in order to link, we have to pass the path of our JavaScript file. So for this, we have an attribute called src. Inside the first tag src, and pass the file path. So // and the file name main.js. That's it. So now save this and back to the browser. Click on this button. This time we got our welcome message alert. And now this JavaScript function is working, which means the linking is success, right? So guys, this is how we deal with separate JavaScript file. Perfect. So what's going on guys, today in this video let's continue our JavaScript course. This is the part 2 of the JavaScript full course. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So guys, actually this is the part 2 of the JavaScript full course. And if you guys are new to this, I recommend you guys to complete part 1 of this JavaScript course and come back to this. So link is in the description. Alright, in the previous we learned how to write our first JavaScript code inside of the HTML file, and also we learned how to write the JavaScript code inside of a separate JavaScript file. From now on, I will use a separate JavaScript file to continue this course. So this is a little more organized rather than putting all codes inside of an HTML page. So in this section, let's learn about JavaScript variables. So guys, we will create variables to hold a value inside of the memory of our PC or the browser. So as you guys know, JavaScript code run inside the browser, right? So we create variables to hold or save a value in the memory of the browser. This memory is just temporary. If you close or reload the browser, these values will be removed from the browser memory, right? Any of you who are new to this may get a little bit confused. Don't worry, I'll back to this in a minute. Now let's see how to create a variable in JavaScript. So in order to create a variable in JavaScript, we have three keywords: var, let, and const. So let's see this in action. As I said earlier, from now on I will use this JavaScript separate file for this tutorial. So open this. Inside this we can create the JavaScript variables. In order to create a variable in JavaScript, first we have to add the variable keyword. So let's use the var keyword. If you can remember, I told you earlier, in JavaScript, in order to create a variable, we have three keywords: var, let, and const. So for this example, first let's use the var keyword. So type var. After this, the variable name, something, first name. So this variable name can be any name, but there are some rules and best practices in JavaScript when declaring JavaScript variables. One important rule is that variable names can only contain letters, numbers, underscores, and dollar signs. They cannot contain spaces, and the first character must be a letter, underscore, or the dollar sign. For example, first name. This is a valid variable name, but full space name is a not valid variable because this is contain this space. And also don't use a number as the variable name, first letter, something like this, number 1 and first name. Guys, when you create a variable name, use something meaningful names. It will be easy to debug and it will improve the readability of the code. It's a good practice when creating variables, not only in JavaScript but in any programming language. So guys, I'm going to use the first name variable to store the first name of the user. So that's why I used the variable name as the first name. The naming convention of first name is an example of a common naming convention used in JavaScript to name variables that hold strings or text values. The convention is to use a lowercase first letter for the first word in the variable name and then use uppercase letters for each subsequent word in the name. This is known as the camel case naming convention. So in this example, the variable name, first name, is made up of two words, first and name. The first letter of the first word is lowercase and the first letter of the second word is uppercase with no spaces or underscores between the two words. So using a consistent naming convention like this can make your code more readable and easier to understand for yourself and other developers who may need to read or modify your code in the future. So hope you guys got the idea. Alright, so like this var keyword, we can use the let keyword. So something like this, let, and the variable name something. This time we'll use something different variable name, age. So another thing, in JavaScript when you're creating variables, don't use the same variable name for two different variables. If you are familiar with other programming languages, you can't do that. You can't duplicate same variable, right? You will get compile errors. But in JavaScript, you will not get any errors and this will work without any problem. But as a good practice, don't use the same variable name for variable initialization. Hope you guys got the idea. So next, the const keyword. This is also the same as the previous. So just use the keyword name const and the variable name something address, right? So like this we can use var, let and const keyword to initialize a variable in JavaScript. So guys, in the previous we learned how to create a variables in JavaScript. If you guys look at this carefully, we are getting this error on this const address variable. If I hover this, we can see this error saying that const declaration must be initialized. So what is this error? Before we look at this error, some of you guys maybe wonder actually what is the meaning of these declaration and the initializations. I use these words many times, right? So declaring a variable in JavaScript means creating a new variable and giving it a name. We can do this using the var, let or const keyword followed by the name of the variable. So this is what we did before. We declare a variable here, right? So nothing much. This is just a term that we used for creating variables in any programming language, not in JavaScript, okay? So as I said, this is not only for JavaScript, we use this declaration for all other programming languages as well. Now let's look at the initialization. So guys, initializing a variable in JavaScript means assigning a value to the declared variable. You can do this at the same time you declare the variable, or you can do it separately at a later point in your code. So let's see an example to clarify this. As I said earlier, we declared these variables, but we didn't assign any values to this variable, right? So we can assign a value to this name variable like this, equal sign, and value is something, name, John. Put this inside quotes, right? This is what we called initialization. Assigning a value to a declared variable, we call that initialization, right? So hope you guys got the idea. So initialization can be done with two methods. The first one is we can initialize a variable at the same time we declare the variable. So this is what we did here. We initialize the variable with the declaration of the variable. The second method is we can declare the variable first and then we can initialize the variable later. So something like this. So we already declared the age variable. Right now we can assign the variable value after this in a new line. So down here the variable name is age. This time don't use any variable keyword. So this is because this is already declared here. Just simply assign a value something 25. That's it. So we declared the variable here and we initialize the variable down here. So like this we can initialize a variable in JavaScript. So hope you guys got the idea. So guys, as I said earlier, this is not only valid for JavaScript. This declaring and initialization valid in other programming languages as well. Alright, so now let's move back to the error. This error is saying that const declaration must be initialized. Now you guys can understand this error, right? So in JavaScript, when we use this const keyword to declare a variable, we have to initialize the variable at that same time. Otherwise, it will give us an error. So we can't do like this let age variable. So we did the declaration up here and we did the initialization down here. So let's fix this error by initializing a value to this. For now, just assign a value to this something Canada and put this inside quotes. Now as you can see here, this time the error is gone. So guys, these all variable declaration keywords play different roles in the declaration. So that's why we got this error only for this const variable. We'll learn about this in detail in the next few lectures. For now, just keep in your mind that when we declare a const variable, we must initialize that variable at the same time we declare the variable. So hope you guys got the idea. In JavaScript, variables can hold values of various data types. So let's look at them one by one. The first variable type is a string. So we use string type variable for text values. Strings are enclosed in single or double quotes. So we did this earlier. So this name variable is a string data type. We assigned a text value to this name, John, and we declared it inside of quotes. So guys, for this we can use either single quotes or double quotes. Choice is up to you. Alright, so let's move on to the next data type, number. We use this for numeric values. In JavaScript, there is only one type of number. It can be either an integer or a floating point value. So for this also we did an example previously for this age. As you can see here, we use number for this 25. So now this variable is a number type variable. Next variable type is Boolean. So booleans represent true or false values. The boolean type variable can initialize using only true or false values. So let's see an example for this. Declare a variable something let logged in and assign the value that should be true or false. So let's use true this time. Now this is a boolean variable. So we can use this to check whether a user is logged in to our application or not. If this is true, the user logged in. If this is false, user is not logged in. Hope you guys got the idea. The next variable type is, let's look at array data type. Array is a list of items and they can contain any combination of data types. So let's see an example for this. Nothing much, just simply declare a variable, the keyword let, and the variable name something fruits, and assign symbol. As you know, array is a list of values, so this array can contain more than one value, not like other previous data types. So we created this variable to store a list of fruits. We can initialize the values like this, apple. So declare this as a string inside quotes. So after this, comma, and another fruit, something mango. After this again, another fruit name, something orange. So we initialize 3 values for this variable. But guys, we cannot do this right. We can only assign one value to a variable. By wrapping this with the square brackets, we can make this list of values into a one value like this. So this is what we called an array data type in JavaScript. So guys, inside of an array, we can store a list of values, and in order to create an array, we use square brackets. Inside that, we can put our values one by separating commas. As you can see here, inside this we used string values, but inside of an array we can use any of the variable types, and we can assign numbers also like this, or we can assign boolean values, or we can even create another array inside of this. And also guys, we can store multiple data types inside of an array, a string value or a number value or a boolean value. Likewise, there is no limit to this. So guys, arrays are very useful and very complicated. We will learn in detail about arrays in the next lectures. So I included a complete dedicated separate section for this. After this, we have object data type in JavaScript. So guys, like the array data type, this object data type also can carry multiple data and different types of data types. So let's declare an object type variable. Very simple. So let's create a variable for this. Let keyword and the variable name something user details. After this, assign. So guys, when we declare an array, we used the square brackets like same as this. In order to create an object, we use curly brackets. So open and close curly brackets. Inside this, we have to define the user details. So guys, the object data type carries data as key value pairs. So first we have to define the key. So first name, the key is first name. After this colon, now we can pass the value for this. Inside quotes, the value is something John. So guys, this is the key and this is the value. Okay. So like this, we can create key value pairs as many as we wanted inside this object scope. Alright, so next let's again create another key value pair for this. Key is the last name and the value is do. This is a string data type, so pass this inside of quotes. Next, age, and this time we assign a number value. So age is 30. So like the arrays, we separate key value pairs with commas. Okay. Alright, so next let's define something boolean value. So this key is married. If the user is married, we'll use true boolean value. If the user is not married, we can use the false boolean value. So like this, we can create multiple key value pairs inside of an object, and this can be multiple data types as well. So guys, like the array, this object also a big and very important topic in JavaScript. So this is just a small introduction. In the later sections, we will learn about this in detail. So guys, until now we learned about variables and variable types. Now what is these variables in JavaScript? Can you guys tell me? In general, a variable is a named storage location for a value. Variables are used in programming language to store data values that can be changed or updated during the execution of a program. So what is this named storage location for a value? In JavaScript, variables are stored in a memory which can be your PC or laptop's RAM. When you declare a variable, the JavaScript engine reserves a space in memory for the value of that variable. The amount of memory that is reserved for a variable depends on the data type of the value that the variable holds. For example, a variable that holds a string value will require more memory than a variable that holds a Boolean value. A string value can hold many text characters, but a Boolean value only holds true or false, 0 or 1. We learned about data types, right? So you can think of memory as a series of boxes, each with a unique address. When you declare a variable, the JavaScript engine assigns the value of the variable to a memory box, and the variable name is mapped to the address of that memory box. When you reference a variable in your code, the JavaScript engine looks up the address of the memory box that is associated with the variable name and retrieves the value that is stored in that memory box. It's important to note that the JavaScript engine manages memory automatically, so you don't need to worry about manually allocating and delocating memory for variables. The engine will handle that for you. This is just extra knowledge for you, so if you don't understand it, don't worry about it. When I'm learning something new, I always try to start with the basics. That's why I understand what's happening behind the scenes, and it has really helped me a lot in my programming journey. That's why I included this section. If you can follow it, great. If not, that's okay too. Guys, we already learned about the JavaScript variable types. But in JavaScript, we divide these data types into two categories. One is primitive data types and the second one is reference or the complex data type. So guys, we can include the string, number and the boolean data types into primitive data category. Why is that? Because these data types store the actual value directly in the variable. You guys already know about this, right? Wait, I'll show you a quick example for this. So we declare a variable something username and assign a string type value for this user1 inside quotes. Okay, as you guys can see here, this value is directly assigned to this variable. So this is why we call this string data type as a primitive data type. Like this, as you guys know, number data type and the boolean data type also, we will assign the value directly to the variable. So that's why all these string numbers and boolean data types fall into the primitive data type category. And also guys, primitive data types are immutable, which means primitive data type values cannot be changed once they are created. Let's take a closer look at what this means. Alright, first let's create a something string variable. Let. Now use the let keyword for this. Let, and the variable name is something username, and the value is something user1. So guys, what is this variable data type? Yes, of course, this is a string data type because we assigned a string value to this username variable. Okay, so as I said, this is a primitive data type because we directly assigned the value to this variable. So as the second point, I said that primitive data types cannot be changed once they are assigned. But guys, as you already know, we can assign a new value to a variable again like this. This time we are not using the variable keyword and we can directly change the variable. The variable name is username and this time assign a value something user2. So now you guys may think, if this is a primitive, how we can change the value of this variable? This is a bit confusing, right? So let me explain this. So in the previous section, I explained to you how the variable declarations are placed inside the memory. So when we declare a variable, our local computer's RAM or the memory allocates a dedicated space for this variable and save the value inside this variable's memory location. So when we assigning a new value to the same variable, what will happen inside the memory? Can you guys guess? So you guys might think this will modify this previous value to the new value, but it's not. So when we assign a new value, this will create another new space for that value and reallocate that variable to the new memory location by keeping the previous value. So this is why we call this a primitive data type. Every time we assign a value to this variable, this will allocate a new memory space by keeping the old value inside the memory. This concept is applied to other primitive data types as well, numbers and Boolean data types. So guys, if we update these primitive data types values to a new value, all of the old values still remain inside of the memory. So you guys may wonder if there is any chance to access the old values. Guys, the answer is no. Unfortunately, once a variable with a primitive data type is reassigned, the previous value is no longer directly accessible. This is because of the original value is replaced with the new value in the memory. As I said earlier, when we assigning a new value, this will allocate a new memory location and replace the variable to this new memory location. So therefore, we cannot access the old values again. Hope you guys got the idea. So before we move on to the next, in case you guys want to access the old values, we can simply do something like this. So before we modify the username, we can assign the old value to another new variable, something like this. Before this, create a new variable, the let keyword and the variable name old username, and assign this to this first username variable. So now we can access the old username using this new variable. Actually, this is not a good practice. I am just showing you guys in case you need it. But don't follow this approach. Got it? Alright guys, let's move on to the next data type, which is the complex data type or the reference data type. So under this reference data type, we can include the array and object data type in JavaScript. So guys, reference data types are more complex and allow us to store and manipulate larger sets of data. Unlike primitive data types, as you guys know, primitive data types hold a single value. Reference data types can hold a collection of values and are stored as references in memory. So let's make this clear by looking at an example. So think we have an array with several fruit names values. So guys, as I said earlier, JavaScript array is a reference data type, right? So that's why I am taking this array as an example. So when we created this array, as you guys know, all the variables and values are stored inside the memory, right? So guys, when we created this array, memory will allocate a dedicated space inside the memory block, right? Something like this. But this will save only the array elements inside this memory, not the variable. So this variable will save inside of another memory block and assign this array value block's reference number to this variable. So remember guys, inside the memory, every allocated memory blocks have its own unique reference number. Using that reference number, we can access the data inside that memory block. So guys, in this case, this reference type data can be modified at any time, anywhere inside our application and reused at any time. So guys, when we edit this fruits array data, as you guys know, this is a reference data type. So these array values are stored inside of a different memory block. When we edit this will edit these array values directly inside this same memory block. This will not create another new memory block and store the new edited data inside that memory block like primitive data types. This will modify the previous array data and replace the old value with the new one. So this reference type data is more efficient than the primitive type data. Hope you guys got the idea. Guys, as I said earlier, objects also fall under this reference type data category. But for now, I will not go through the objects. Later, we have a full dedicated section about this object data type. From that, we can learn about this in detail. So guys, we almost successfully completed the variables and data types in JavaScript. Now let's move on to another new topic, operators and expressions in JavaScript. Alright, now first let's learn about operators in JavaScript. So operators are fundamental components of JavaScript. So this will allow us to do various operations, calculations and data manipulations across our JavaScript application. For example, if we want to perform a calculation to get a total amount of today's sale, for this we can use addition operator in JavaScript. To subtraction, we can use the subtract operator. Likewise, we have few operators in JavaScript. Alright, so guys, we have a few different operator categories: arithmetic operators, comparison operators, logical operators, and ternary operator. So first let's dive into the arithmetic operators. So basically we use arithmetic operators to perform mathematical calculations on numeric values. In JavaScript, we have several arithmetic operators for different calculation. Let's look at them one by one. The first operator is the addition operator. So as you guys know, basically we use this addition operator to add two number values together. Let's see an example for this. Inside our JavaScript file, let's create a new variable, something num1. So guys, how do we define a variable in JavaScript? Can you guys remember? Yes, of course. In order to create a new variable, we have to use the let keyword, right? So let keyword, variable name is something num1. Assign this to a number value, something 10. Down here again create another variable, let keyword and the variable name num2 and assign this to number 5. Now I want to add these two numbers and assign this to a new variable. So let's create the variable first. So let keyword and the variable name is sum. After this assign. So now add these two numbers together. So the first variable name is num1, and in order to do the addition, we can use the addition operator, which is this plus symbol. After this, add the second number variable num2. That's it. Let's log this total variable so we can see this value inside the browser console. So console.log and inside brackets the variable name is sum. Save this all and go to the browser. Inside the browser console, we can see this sum 15. Cool, right? So guys, this is how we can use the addition operator. Alright, before we move on to the next operator, some of you guys may wonder what is this console log and what is this browser console. In JavaScript, console log is a built-in function that allows us to print a message, data, or any information about our JavaScript code inside the browser's console. So what is this browser console? The console is a developer tool in web browser that helps us to see what's happening in our code as it runs. So guys, think that you are writing a JavaScript code and you want to check that it is working or not. For example, think that you want to do a calculation based on a user's input and show the data inside of another text field, something like this. So guys, user will input the number 1 and number 2. So in here we do the calculation using the addition operator like our previous example. So how do we write the code for this? So we have to capture the user input values and we have to store them inside of JavaScript variables. So we will create variables and we'll get the user input values, something like this. So don't worry about this code. We will learn about this in later sections. Okay, we'll capture the values from the input fields. After that, think that we want to check whether this code is working or not. Is this variable storing the user input values correctly or not? So how do we check that? So this is where we can get the use of the console log JavaScript function. We can simply log these variables like this. Down here, console.log, and inside parentheses, we can pass this variable name. In our case, variable name is num1. In down here, we can again use another console log to print the second variable value. So guys, what will this do? This will output these console logs values inside the browser console. As you guys know, JavaScript codes will execute in the browser. So inside the browser, there are some developer tools built in. We can access them by going to browser and open this inspect element menu. Simply go to the browser and right click and go to this inspect element tab. This will open this new tab or the window inside the browser. So guys, this is the developer tools in the browser and it is available inside of all web browsers out there. For our tutorial, I will use the Chrome browser, but you can find similar developer tools in browsers like Firefox, Edge, Safari, and other browsers as well. So now let's be clear. This built-in tool is primarily for developers to understand and work with their web pages and the JavaScript code running on them. So inside these developer tools, you will find variety of tools and tabs, but in this tutorial, we will focus on one of the most fundamental tabs, that is console tab. Alright, so guys, let's back to our example. In here, we are logging these two variables which will log inside the browser console tab. Inside this browser console, we can see the values of these inputs value. So guys, imagine a scenario. A user enters the number 5 into this input field and our code should capture this input. When we check the console tab, it should show the number 5. If however this log displays something different, it means something is missing in our code. So in this case, we are using our console log as a detective tool. It helps us to verify that our code is correctly receiving and processing user inputs. If it's not showing what we expect, it's a clue that we need to investigate and potentially fix an issue in our code. This way, we can ensure our web application work as we expected and provide a smooth experience for users. So guys, like this, we can use this browser console for various purposes. We can use this to identify an error in our code and we can fix the error. We can use this to print values inside the browser console. We can use this to test code ideas. Likewise, we can use this in many ways. Guys, don't worry about this. When you dive into the JavaScript, you will get used to this console log. Guys, before we moving on, please note this browser console is only for the developers to use in the development stage. So this is used for debugging and logging information for developers only. The end user will not interact with these developer tools. So guys, for example, when user open our website, if you want to show a message, we will show them a JavaScript alert message, like our first example. If you can remember, in our first lesson, we showed a message using the alert message, right? So we will use this method to show an alert to the end user, and we will not use this console log method to show a welcome message to the user. So hope you guys got the idea. Alright guys, that's it for the console log. Let's move on to the our next operator. Alright, now let's move on to the second subtraction operator. Alright, so guys, we can use this to subtract between two numbers. So let's take the same previous example. So this time I want to subtract the number 2 value from the number 1. So let's do it. First, let's create a variable for this. Let subtraction assign num2 minus num1. Now down here, let's log this so we can see this answer inside the browser console. Save this all and go to the browser. As you guys can see here, we got this subtracted value 5. So if we subtract 5 from 10, the answer is 5, right? So this is what we got here. Awesome. Alright, let's next move on to the next operator, multiplication. For this we use the asterisk or the star symbol. So guys, we use this to do the multiplication. Let's see an example for this. We'll use the same num1 and the num2 variable for this. So down here, as usual, create another new variable to store the multiplication value. So let keyword and the variable name something multiplication and assign num1 multiplication and num2. Down here, log this to see the answer inside the browser console. Save this and back to the browser. As you can see here, we got this answer 50. So guys, this is the use of the multiplication operator. Alright, next move on to the next operator, division operator. We use this to do the divide calculation. Let's divide the num1 with the num2. So create a variable for this. Let divide assign num1 divide symbol. Divide symbol is this slash. And the second number variable is num2. So log this down here. As you can see here inside the browser console, we got this divided value, which is 2. If we divide 10 by 5, the answer is 2, right? So this is what we got here. Cool, right? Alright, so let's move on to the next operator. Next we have the remainder operator. The symbol for this is the percentage symbol. Wait guys, this is not what you are thinking. This is not the percentage calculation operator like other operators. This is a bit different. Actually, this remainder operator will return the remain value after division. Think if we divide 10 by 3, what will be the answer? The answer will be an infinite decimal value, approximately 3.33333, which represents infinity, right? So for this, if we use the remainder operator, this will return 1 as the answer. What this will do is, this will divide this to the nearest full digit and return the remaining value. In our example, it divides 10 by 3 and finds the nearest full digit, which is 3. Then it multiplies 3 by 3, result is 9. The remainder is the difference between the original value 10 and the product 9, which is 1. So this is what this remainder operator does. Hope you guys got the idea. So let's look at our code example and do this remainder operation to these two variables, num1 and num2. Create a variable down here. Let the variable name is remainder and assign num1 remainder symbol, which is the percentage symbol. After this, num2. Now down here, log this. Save this and back to the browser. Wait, before move on, can you guys guess the answer for this remainder? 10 divided by 5, what will be the answer? The answer is 0. Why is that? Because if we divide 10 by 5, there is no decimal values or the remain values. So in this case, this will return 0. Alright, so save this and back to the browser. Now let's look at the answer inside the browser console. We got this answer 0. Awesome, right? So guys, this remained operator will return the remaining value between two digits. If there is a remaining value, this will return that value. If there is no remaining value, this will return 0. Hope you guys got the idea. Alright, let's move on to the next operator. Exponentiation operator. The symbol for this is 2 asterisks or the star symbol. What is this operator? Guys, in any case, if you want to calculate something power number like 2 to the power 3, how do we do this in calculation? Normally we can do this using the multiplication operator like this, but practically this is not good. So in JavaScript, to do this power calculation, we can use this exponentiation operator. So let's see this same example using this operator. Very simple. First add the main digit number, which is in our case 2. After this exponentiation operator symbol, double asterisk, and after this add the power value. So the power value is 3. That's it. So this will do the power calculation without repeating the multiplication symbol. So let's see this with our actual example, num1 and num2. Down here, as usual, create a variable for this exponentiation and the let keyword, and the variable name is exponentiation. For this, I want to get the power value of num1. So the first value is num1. After this, the symbol double asterisk. Next, the power value is num2. Save this. After this, don't forget to log this at the bottom of this. So guys, with this we are calculating the 10 to the power 5, right? So num1 value is 10 and the num2 value is 5. Save this and go to the browser. As you can see here, inside the browser console, we got 100,000 as the answer. Is that correct? 10 into 10 is 100. So 100 into 10 is 1000. 1000 into 10 is 10,000. And 10,000 into 10 is 100,000. This is what we got here. Awesome, right? So I think this is the end of all arithmetic operators in JavaScript. So I think this is not much to understand. This is very easy, right? So in any case, if you guys don't get it, you guys will get used to this when you do real world applications. Alright, so let's move on to the next operator type, comparison operators. Alright, let's learn about comparison operators. So guys, comparison operators are used to compare values and return a boolean result, true or false, based on the comparison. In JavaScript, we have few comparison operators. So let's look at them one by one. The first comparison operator is equals to, and the symbol is double equal signs. So guys, we use this to check if two values are equals or not. If the values are equal, this will return true, otherwise this will return false. Very simple. So let's look at an example. Let's check whether these num1 and num2 variables are equals or not. So first let's store this inside of a new variable. So create a variable, let keyword, and the variable name is something equals. After this equal sign, num1 equals, the equals operator symbol is a double equal sign, right? So add that here. After this, num2. That's it. So guys, can you guys guess the answer to this statement? With this, we are checking whether these num1 and num2 values are equals or not. As we know, the num1 value is number 5 and the num2 value is number 10. So therefore, this num1 is not equals to num2. So in this case, this equals to operator will return false. So let's confirm this. Log this down here. Console.log. The variable name is equals. So save this all and go to the browser. Look at the browser console. Inside this, we can see this returned the false boolean value. Hope you guys got the idea. Now again guys, if I change this num2 value to number 10, what will be the answer? What do you guys think? Yes, of course, the answer is true. because now this time the num1 and num2 both values are the same value, number 10, right? So save this and go to the browser. As you can see here, this time we got the true boolean value printed here. Perfect. Alright, let's move on to the next operator, which is not equals to. This is the opposite of the equals operator. With this we can compare if two values are not equal. Same as the previous equals operator. With this we check the opposite of the equal, which is not equal. If the two values are not equal, this will return true. If the values are equals, this will return false. So let's look at an example for this as well. I'll change back this num2 value to num5. Now down here, let's create a variable for this. Let the variable name is not equals assign. Now let's check whether num1 is not equals to num2 or not. So num1 variable name and the not equals symbol, not equals, the symbol is exclamation mark and the equal sign. If you can remember, we use double equal sign for equals to operator. For this we use this exclamation mark and the single equal sign. In JavaScript for opposite operations, most of the time we use the exclamation mark. If you see an exclamation mark, which means with this we are checking the opposite value of this second symbol, which is this equal symbol. So with this we are checking not equals, right? Next after this, not equals, add the num2 variable name. So guys, can you guys guess the answer? Yes, of course. This will return true this time because these two variable values are not equals, right? Okay, save this and go to the browser. As you can see here, we got this true boolean value here. Wait, I'll comment all other logs so we can see this clearly inside the browser console. So again, save this all and go to the browser. Inside the browser console, this time we can see this true value which is coming from this last log. So this statement returns true, which means these numbers values are not equals to each other values. So hope you guys got the idea. Alright, let's move on to the next operator. Guys, the next operator in the list is strict equals to, and the symbol is 3 equal signs. So guys, nothing much here. This operator is similar to the equals to operator we learned earlier, but it has an additional feature. With the strict equals to operator, we not only compare the values of two data but also check their data types as well. When using the strict equals to operator, JavaScript compares both the values and the data types of the given values. So this will return true if the values are equals and have the same data type. Otherwise, this will return false. So let's see an example to understand this better. Let's look at our same example again, num1 and num2. And also let's create another new variable for this, num3. So the let keyword and the variable name is num3 and set this value to number 10 for now. So now down here, let's create a new variable for this, let and the variable name strict equals. After this, equal sign. This time let's check this num1 and num3 variables are equals or not. So num1, after this strict equal symbol, 3 equal signs. After this num3 variable. That's it. So now down here, log the strict equals variable console.log and the variable name is strict equals. So guys, if these values and data types are equals, this will return true, otherwise this will return false. So comment the previous logs, save this all and go to the browser. Inside the browser console, we can see this true boolean value. So guys, this num1 value is 10 and this num3 value also 10. And also guys, this strict equals checks the data types. So these both values are numbers. So in this case, the strict equal statement is true. That's why this return true. Hope you guys got the idea. Wait guys, before we move on, let's see another example for this. This time we'll use num1 and the num2 variables. So guys, down here change this num3 to num2. Guys, what do you think? What will be the value this will return? This time num1 and num2 both values are number data type. So both variable data types are equals, but these values are not equals. Num1 value is number 10 and the num2 value is number 5. So in this case, this will return false. Okay. So let's see this in action. Save this and go to the browser. As you can see inside the browser console, this time we got false boolean value. So guys, in order to return this strict equals operator true, both the values and the data types must be the same, right? Hope you guys got the idea. Again, let's look at another example for this strict equals to operator. This time let's change this num3 variable to a string data type value. So how do we do this? Just wrap this number inside of quotes. So guys, now this is a string data type even though this value is number 10. Okay, so alright, now let's strict equals check for this num1 and num3. Down here change this num1 and to num3. Save this all and go to the browser. As you can see here, this time we got false boolean value. Why is that? Can you guys guess? Yes, of course. This time these values are the same, but the data type is different, right? This num1 data type is number and this num3 data type is a string. So that's why this returned false. But guys, if we change this operator to equals to operator, what will be the answer? Can you guys guess? Let's see this inside the browser. As you can see here, we got true boolean value here. Can you guys, why is that? When we're dealing with the equals to operator, this will first check data types of the given to value. If the data type is same, next this will check the values are equals or not. If the values are equal, this will return true. Otherwise, this will return false. But if the data type is different, equals to operator, guys wait, don't get confused. Now I am speaking about the equals to operator, not the strict equals to operator, right? So back to the track. As I said, if the data type is different, this equals to operator automatically convert the second value into the first value's data type. In our case, this will convert this num3 value data type to number, because this num1 data type is number, right? Then this will check the values. If these values are equals, this will return true, otherwise this will return false. In our example, values are the same but data type is different. So this equals to operator will convert the second value data type as the first value data type, and then this will do the equals operation. So that's why we got true boolean value here, even though these data types are different. Hope you guys got the idea. Guys, I am going through all these behind the scenes process, because if you guys can understand this behind the scenes process of how JavaScript handles operators and data types, can give you a deeper understanding of how things works in the JavaScript. It is important to have a solid understanding of these concepts to write efficient and bug-free code. I know these concepts may seem a bit boring at times, but trust me, learning and understanding these concepts is essential for your journey as a JavaScript developer. These foundational concepts serve as a building blocks of more advanced topics and functionalities. Alright, let's move on to the next comparison operator, strict not equals to. This can be represented with the exclamation mark with two equal signs. So guys, this is also the same as not equals to, the exact same opposite of the strict equals to operator. This operator will compare if two values are not equals in either value or type and return true. If this is not equal to the value or data type, this will return false. The same exact opposite of the previous. So let's look at the same example as the previous. So I'll duplicate this. The variable name is strict not equals and replace this with the strict not equals symbol, exclamation mark and two equal signs. So down here as usual log this console.log and the variable name is strict not equals. So comment the previous log, save this and go to the browser. As you can see here, this time this returned true. Why is that? The num1 and num3 values are the same, but the data type is different. So with this we are checking the opposite of strict equals. So that's why this returned true here. Because these two values are not equals in data types. So this one is the number data type and this one is string data type. So hope you guys got the idea. Alright, let's quickly move on to the next comparison operator, the greater than operator. So guys, we use this to check if the first value is greater than the second value. If the first value is greater than the second value, this will return true, otherwise this will return false. Okay, so let's look at an example for this. Let's use our num1 and num2 variable for this as well. So first I comment the previous log, create a variable for this, let the variable name is greater than assign. Let's check whether num1 is greater than num2. So num1 greater than symbol num2. So guys, this represent the greater than symbol. Alright, so next log this greater than variable down here, console.log. Inside this, pass the variable name greater than. Save this and go to the browser. As you can see here, we got this true boolean value inside the browser console. So guys, this returned true because 10 is greater than the number 5, right? Let's change this. Let's check if num2 is greater than num1. Save this and go to the browser. This time we got false here. Why is that? Yes, of course, number 5 is not greater than number 10, right? So that's why this returned false. Hope you guys got the idea. Awesome. So let's move on to the next operator, greater than or equals to operator. So guys, this will check if the first value is greater than or equals to the second value. If the first value is greater than the second value, or if the first value is equals to the second value, in both situations this will return true. So let's see this in action. So down here create a new variable for this, the let keyword. After this the variable name is something greater than equal assign. This time let's check whether num1 is greater than or equals to the number 10. And guys, this represent the greater than equal symbol, right? Greater than symbol and equal symbol without spaces. So guys, after this, don't forget to log this greater than equal variable down here. Save this and go to the browser. Let's comment the previous log. Now as you can see here, we got true boolean value here. How is this return true? Because num1 value is 10 and it's equals to number 10, right? So that's why this returned true. If I change this number 10 to 9, this time also we got true because the num1 variable value 10 is greater than 9, right? So that's why we got true. This will return true if one of the condition is satisfied. Hope you guys got the idea. Alright, so let's move on to the next operator, less than operator. You guys already know, so we use this to check if the first value is less than the second. If the first value is less than the second value, this will return true. If not, this will return false. The same opposite of the greater than operator, right? So let's quickly look for an example for this. Same as the previous, let's use these num1 and num2 variables. First, remove all the previous comment. Create a variable. Let keyword, the variable name is less than. After this, assign, and the first value is num1. After this, less than symbol, the second value is num2. Down here, log this less than variable console.log, and the variable name is this less than. Save this and go to the browser. As you can see here inside the browser console, we got false. Why is that? Because the number 2 is not less than number 5, right? So that's why this returned false. If I change the variables num2 at first and the num1 as the second value, this time we got true, because 5 is less than 10. Hope you guys got the idea. Perfect. So guys, next we have the less than or equal operator. So this will check if the first value is less than or equal to the second. Let's see a quick example of this. Let's change this less than operator to less than or equals operator. Very simple. Add equal after this without any spaces. Save this and look at the browser console. We got true here. Why is that? Because number 5 is less than number 10. So next, let's remove the second value and hand code number 5 value here. Save this inside the browser console. This time also we got true. Why is that? Because this time 5 is equals to 5. If I change this to something higher than number 5, as you can see here, this time we got false, because 8 is not less than or equals to 5. Guys, this is the same as the greater than or equals operator. So nothing much here. Hope you guys got the idea. So guys, before we move on, let's talk about another important thing about the comparison operator. In this operator type, we checked all number type values. Think if we use these operators with strings, what will happen to the results? In real world mathematics, we use these less than, greater than operators with numbers, right? But in JavaScript, these operators act differently. So let's see an example and we'll dive into this deeper. Alright, so let's make this num2 value as a string value. So we can make this as a string just by putting this number inside of quotes. So now this is a string data type. Down here, let's create a variable, the let keyword, and the variable name is greater than string. After this equal sign, num1 greater than symbol and num2. Guys, what will be the answer? Can you guys guess? Let's save this and go to the browser. As you can see here, we got true here. How is this output true boolean value inside this browser console? As you guys know, num2 is a string value. So normally the greater than operator is used to compare numbers, right? Then how is this output this true boolean value? So guys, this is very simple. In JavaScript, when we use the comparison operators with the number value and the string value, JavaScript will automatically convert the string value to a number value, right? So in our case, this will convert the num2 string 5 value to number 5 value. So that's why we are getting true boolean value as the output of this statement, because number 10 is greater than number 5. This is works same for all other comparison operators, less than, greater than or equal, and less than or equal operators. So guys, now some of you may wonder, in our example we used a number as a string value. So when doing this comparison, converting this string value to a number is possible. But if the string is with some characters or letters or words, is that possible to convert that as a number? Yes, it's a valid question. In our previous example, we used a string value that could be easily converted to a number. But what if the string contains characters, letters, or words that cannot be directly converted to a number? So let's explore this further. When attempting to convert a string with non-numeric characters to a number, JavaScript will first check whether this converting string value has a valid numeric value. If the string value is a numeric value, this will convert that to a number data type. If the string value is a non-numeric value, then JavaScript will skip this number type conversion and return a special value called nan, which stands for not a number. This indicates that the conversion cannot be performed because the string does not represent a valid numeric value. So if the conversion failed, the comparison operator will directly return false because there are no two number value to perform this comparison. So let's see an example for this. Change this num2 string numeric value to something word apple. Save this and go to the browser. As you can see here, this time we got false because apple cannot be converted as a numeric value. So this comparison is invalid. That's why this returned true. Hope you guys got the idea. Alright, so guys, let's look at another scenario. Think if both values are string. In this situation, JavaScript uses something different approach, not like the previous one. So in this situation, JavaScript does not automatically convert the string values to the number data type for this comparison. So guys, when comparing two string values, the comparison is based on each character's Unicode value. Wait a minute, what is this Unicode? The Unicode system is a numeric system that is used to identify the characters or letters on the keyboard. Each and every character on keyboard has its own unique number or Unicode. For example, if we press the letter capital A, for this letter, Unicode is 65. This Unicode is different for uppercase and lowercase letters. For uppercase A, Unicode number is 65, and for the lowercase letter A, the Unicode number is 97. So like this, each and every uppercase and lowercase letters and all of the numbers and special characters have a unique Unicode number, right? So some of you guys may wonder, how do I know this exact Unicode for the capital A and simple A letters? Nothing much guys, in JavaScript we have a special method to get the Unicode of any character. The method name is charCodeAt. So let's see an example for this. Down here, let's create a string variable, something let keyword, and the variable name is something Unicode. And the string value is capital A. Put this inside quotes, or this is a string data type, right? So down here, we can use the charCodeAt method with this variable. So this variable is Unicode. So after this, dot, the method name is charCodeAt and the parentheses, because this is a JavaScript function. If any of you guys don't know anything about functions, don't worry about that. We will learn about this in detail in the next lectures. Okay. Alright, so guys, this will return the string values, Unicode value. So in order to see this inside the browser console, let's wrap this inside of the console log. So console.log, inside this, cut and paste this. Alright, so before opening the browser, let's comment the previous logs so we can see this clearly. Save this and go to the browser. As you can see here, we got the capital A letters, Unicode number 65. If I change this letter to lowercase a, save this and again go to the browser. As you can see here, this time we got 97, which is the unique Unicode value of the simple a or the lowercase a. If I change the string value to a character something question mark, As you can see here, we got this characters Unicode 63. Awesome, right? So guys, like this, we can check the Unicode of any letter or characters or symbol on the keyboard. So we can use the JavaScript function for this. Okay. Alright, so let's get back to the track. Previously, we were speaking about how the comparison operators compare two string values, right? So I was about to tell you in this two string comparison situation, JavaScript will do this comparison based on each character's Unicode value. So guys, in this situation, JavaScript will convert the string value's first character to its Unicode and execute this comparison. So look at an example for this. So think we have two string values, simple A and capital A, lowercase a and uppercase A. Down here we performing the greater than comparison. So now these both values are strings. So first JavaScript will convert this to the Unicode value. So the simple A Unicode is 97 and the capital A Unicode is 65. So guys, now these two values are numbers. Therefore, now this greater than the operator can execute this comparison. So this will execute this operation and return a true Boolean value. So how this return true? Because 97 is greater than 65. Simple maths. Right? Hope you guys got the idea. Guys, before we move on, we have another situation here. Think if the comparison values are string words, not letters like the previous. So think as the first string value we have apple with capital A and the second string value is banana with capital B. So guys, in this case, JavaScript will convert the first letter of each word to its corresponding Unicode value and then perform the comparison. So guys, as of example, it will compare the Unicode value of A from the apple string value with the Unicode value of capital B from the banana string value. So the capital A Unicode is 65 and the capital B Unicode value is 66. So we are performing the greater than comparison. So this will return false because 65 is not greater than 66, right? So guys, one more thing, it's important to note that this comparison is case sensitive, meaning that uppercase letter Unicode are considered different from lowercase letters Unicode. So if we had apple with simple A and banana with capital B as the comparison values, the result would be true because the lowercase a has higher Unicode value than the uppercase B. The lowercase a Unicode value is 97 and the uppercase B Unicode value is 66. So in this case, 97 or the lowercase a is greater than 66 or the uppercase B. Hope you guys got the idea. Guys, this is not over yet. We have another scenario here. Think if we have two strings, something apple and avocado as our comparison values. In this case, JavaScript will again convert the first letter of each word to its Unicode value and perform the comparison. The Unicode value of uppercase A from the first value apple is 65 and the Unicode value of capital A is from the second value avocado also 65. So in terms of the first letter, both strings have the same Unicode value. So guys, in this scenario, where the first letters of the two comparison values are the same, JavaScript follows a different approach. When comparing two string values in JavaScript, if the first characters are the same, the comparison is based on the subsequent characters in the strings. So what is this? Guys, if the first characters of the two strings are the same, JavaScript will look at the second characters that come after the first character and perform the comparison. If in any case, the second character is also the same, this will continue to look at the different characters in the next position, the third character, then the fourth character, and so on until it finds a difference or reaches the end of the either string. Okay. As our example, both strings start with the letter uppercase A. In this case, JavaScript proceeds to compare the second characters, which are lowercase p and v. So the Unicode value of lowercase p is 112 is less than the Unicode value of lowercase v is 118. So in this case, this greater than operator will return false. So guys, as I said earlier, if the second characters were the same, JavaScript would move on to compare the third characters and so on until a difference is found or until the end of either string is reached. This approach is commonly referred as lexicographic or dictionary order comparison. It means that the comparison is done character by character, similar to how words are ordered in a dictionary. So guys, I hope you got the idea. If not, please go through this section again and again until you clear this topic. If you still have any problem, please don't hesitate to leave a comment. So guys, this string comparison approach is applied to all other comparison operators: less than, greater than or equal, less than or equal, and so on. I think that's it for these comparison operators. So let's next move on to the next chapter. Alright guys, so next we have logical operators. So these logical operators are used in combined multiple conditions and perform logical operations. In JavaScript, we have three logical operators: logical AND operator. The symbol is double AND sign. Next, the logical OR operator. The symbol is two vertical slashes. Okay. So next we have the logical NOT operator. The symbol is an exclamation mark. Now let's see these logical operators one by one with examples. The first operator is the logical AND operator. So guys, we use this to compare two conditions. If both conditions return true, this operator will return true, right? Otherwise, this will return false. So let's look an example of this. Guys, think if we want to check if a person is eligible for a certain discount, there are two conditions that need to be satisfied for this discount to apply. The first condition is the person must be a student, and the second condition is the person age must be below 25. So how do we check these conditions? For this, we can use the logical AND operator to combine these conditions. So let's see this in action. Inside our JavaScript file down here, let's first create two variables for these conditions. The first variable is to check the person is student or not. So create a variable for this. So the let keyword and the variable name person type, and the value is string value. If the person is a student, we set this to student string value. If not, we'll set this to something else. So now let's set this value to a student string value. Put this inside of quotes. Next, create a variable to store the age. So let age, and this value is 22. Now down here, I want to check if this person is eligible for the discount or not. As I said earlier, for this we can use the logical AND operator. So first create a variable to store the result. Let keyword and the variable is eligible and equal sign. Now first we have to check is this person is a student or not. So guys, how do we check this condition? For this we can use the equals to operator. So the variable name is person type equals to equal sign, and with this we'll check person type is student. So inside quotes pass the student value. If this variable value is student, this operator will return true. Otherwise this will return false, right? So in order to check the discount eligibility, we have to check another condition, which is the age. The age should be below than 25. So now let's write the comparison operator to check the age. So to verify the age, we can use the less than comparison operator. So the variable is age, and the less than operator, the age should be less than 25. So guys, now we have two conditions here. So in order to combine these two conditions, we can use the logical operators. So for this, we can use the AND operator, because this AND operator will compare two conditions. If both conditions return true, this operator will return true, right? So in our case, these two conditions should be returned true to get the discount. So guys, as I said earlier, we can combine these two conditions with the logical operators. For this example, we have to use the AND operator. So the AND operator symbol is two AND symbols. So between these two statements, add the AND operator. That's it. So now let's log this down here and see the returning value of this AND operator. So console.log, and this variable name is eligible, and save this and go to the browser. As you can see here, we got true boolean value, which means this person is eligible for the discount. So guys, how this return true? Can you guys tell me? Yes, of course. This person type is a student. So this first equals to operator returns true. And the second condition also true, because this person age is below than 25. So both conditions are true, therefore AND operator returned true. If I change this personality type to something else, to doctor, save this and go to the browser. As you can see here, this time this returned false. Why is that? Because this time this first condition is false, because now this person is not a student. Therefore this AND operator returned false. So guys, remember, this AND logical operator will return true only if both conditions return true. Otherwise this will return false on all situation. Hope you guys got the idea.